Okay, I was going to present either one or two case studies this morning before lunch.
მინდოდა სადილამგით ყოფის ერთი ორი სასწავლო кейსი წარმომედგინა.
And these are examples of fairly simple structures that are of the same scale as our building.
აი ეს ორივე кейსი არის დაახლოებით ერთ-იგივე სტილის შენობები, ერთ-იგივე სტაბის.
I'm going to talk a little bit about methodologies that we follow.
ხა მინდა ცოტა გავიხსენო ის მეთოდოლოგია, რომელსაც ვიყენებდით.
And we always try to develop a hypothesis of what we think is happening with the building early on. And then we try to prove that hypothesis.
ჩვენ ყოველთვის ვცდილობთ, რომ რაღაცა ჰიპოთეტურად წარმოვედგინა, რა ხდებოდა ამა თუ იმ შენობის შიგნით გარშემო და მერე დასტურებინა ესას.
Okay, so the first one is the log churches that are in southeastern Poland and in eastern Slovakia.
ეს არის ესე იგი ეკლესიები, რომელიც არის სამხრეთ აღმოსავლეთ ოსტები პოლონეთში და სლოვაკიაში.
Yeah, they were originally constructed as Greek Catholic churches.
ესენი თავიდან აშენებული იყო როგორც ბერძნულ-კათოლიკური ასეთი მწამსიც არის ეკლესიები.
There were 4 of them in Poland and 26 in Slovakia. Four of these were in Poland, 26 of them were in Slovakia.
ესე იგი 26 იყო სლოვაკეთში და 2 პოლონეთში.
Yeah. And they were originally occupied by these people that were called the Lemko.
აქ ეს იგი ამ ბლოგმენ აი ამ ეკლესიებს ადამიანთა ჯგუფია, ვიცი რაღაცა გასტავს, იმან ლემკოს ეძახდნენ.
These people are, I think, what the Ukrainians like to call the Karpati.
ამათ ეძახიან კარპატელებს უკრაინელები.
Now, they were Ukrainian-speaking people.
ლაპარაკობენ უკრაინულ ენაზე.
And in Poland during communism, they were insurrectionists and they were rounded up and they were relocated.
ეს გადასახლებას დაექვემდებარა ეს ხალხი პოლონეთში ომი. Why they were relocated?
They were Ukrainian insurrectionists against the Soviet government.
ესე იგი საბჭოთა სისტემას იყვნენ ამბოხებულები, ასე ვთქვა და ამიტომ გამოასახლეს.
They originated from Carpathian Mountains.
No, this is in the Carpathian Mountains.
Yeah, but the origins of the people itself.
Yes, yeah. The Ukrainians call them the Carpathians.
კარპატელებს ეძახიან, მაგრამ ეს არის ადამიანები, რომლებიც უკრაინული წარმოშობის ზოგი პოლონეთში, იმიტომ ნაწილი იყო უკრაინისა, როდესაც ისტორიულად პოლონეთის სამეფოში. და ახლა დღეს თვითონ უკრაინელები კარპატელებს ეძახიან.
ძალიან ფული ისტორია გიჩვენებთ.
გაყოფილი იყო.
These only the ones in Poland were relocated. They were sent to either Western Poland or Siberia.
ესე იგი იყვნენ ეს ადამიანები გადასახლებული არამედ პოლონეთის უკრაინის კარპატებისგან დაუშვათ ციმბირშიც ასახლებდნენ.
And so the churches in Poland are now Roman Catholic churches.
და დღეს რომაულ კათოლიკურ ეკლესიებს ეკუთვნის ეს ეკლესიები.
But the iconostasis, they were still in place.
და იკონოსტასებს რასაც ვეძახით რა ეს ხარები დღემდე შემონარჩუნებულია ეკლესიებში.
So anyway, these are just photographs of all of these churches. There are a lot of these churches. You can see that they all have the same style, and the most interesting part is because they were originally built as Orthodox churches. The holy place is always towards the east. So it's west east.
სტილი ამ შენობებისა ერთი და იგივეა ფაქტურად ყველასი და საინტერესო ელემენტია ის რომ ოდესღაც როგორც მართლმადიდებლური ეკლესიის ნიშები იყო აღებული და ამიტომ შესაძლებელი არის ყოველთვის დასავლეთ მხარეს. საკუთრებული დია.
Okay, next. Another example, one more examples.
კიდევ ერთი მაგალითი.
But you can see they all look pretty much the same. This is what they look like on the.
აი როგორ გამოიყენება შიგნით საკუთრებული შესასვლელი კელის.
They're very, very simple.
მარტივი ფორმები.
They keep going.
That's it.
And they've got these wonderful naive paintings. So they're very precious. Huh?
Painting is on.
Yeah, these are the logs. You see the logs. With we were using that moisture meter a lot when we were here. So it was very easy.
გამზომი ხელსაწყოს გამოყენება
Yeah.
ეს გიანობის დადგენა.
I think, can you see the deformation on these?
აი დეფორმაციას ხედავთ ეს დახრა.
These churches all have really.
ყველა გადაყრილია ფაქტიურად, ყველა საათარი დეფორმაცია.
And the next image shows how.
So it looks roof.
Material, roof made of.
Oh, go back. Well, this is metal.
Yeah.
But normally they were completely covered with wood shingles.
ძირითადად იყო როგორც ჩანს
Shingles, right? Yeah, shingles.
ის
Yeah, why don't you go back and go back and
მაგრამ ახლა იქ რაღაც ისე გენიგი თქო
go back to the exteriors. Yeah. See, here's one that's all.
აი ძველი საფარავი
These churches were built in the 18th and 19th centuries. Yeah, we can go forward. Okay, so this is the way these things are constructed. There's horizontal logs.
აი როგორი კონსტრუქცია ჰორიზონტალური აზრგალდებარეობით არის ასვენებული ეს მასალა მორები ასე ჰორიზონტალურად
The tower component is made out of wood frame.
და აი ის ქართო აი კორკურის თუ კორკის
And this is always the entrance from the west.
აქ დასავლეთიდან არის შესასვლელი
And the icon screen is here. And so this is the.
ანუ აქ ეს არის იკონები ეს ხატების გალერეებში დამყარებული ანუ ხატებია
This is what it's like.
აი როგორ გავს როგორ გამოიყურება ეს სისტემა.
You see, this is on the north side.
ეს
All of these churches would lean towards the north.
და ყველა ჩრდილოეთისკენ იქნება ფაქტიურად.
Yeah.
გადახრა არის ჩრდილოეთის მიმართულებით.
It was really helpful to be looking at 30 of these churches because they were all exactly the same. They all had the same things happening.
იგივე სურათი იყო, ყველგან ისინი იმდენად გავსინარიან, როგორც ჩასველი და იგივე განვითარება იყო ასპარეზ ცვლილების.
Yeah.
საძირკველი თქვა.
What about foundation? Do they have foundation?
Yes, I'm going to show you.
Actually,
So why don't we go next?
And
And this is a photograph on the inside. You can see the inside of the tower.
აი ეს არის კოშკის შიდა ხედი.
And these are the blocks.
აი რა ჩანს შიგნიდან სხვა ხის მორების.
So it was built without nails and.
No, there aren't. Well, the wood shingles are all nailed.
Okay.
მასალა რუსის მაგერად ხის
But the walls are not nailed. You know, these are the kind of churches, these are the kind of structures where you go in and they'll say it was built without a nail, and then you go in and you find it.
Yes, ესეთი რუსეთის შეფერვა რო წარმოგვენ რო ეს აღება უგურს მაგრამ როცა იწყებ დაკოლოს დებირო რუსების ხდება არის.
Yeah, but when you're working in this area of the world, different regions, they have different ways that they like to put.
აი ეს ჩანკეტები მორებისაც ჩასმის წესი სხვადასხვანაირია გამოტანილია რუსულად, უბრალოდ რუსული, გერმანული, ანუ როგორ ხდებოდა ეს ჩანკეტები მორები.
ფანტები გადაყრა.
ერთმანეთში ჩაჯდომაა მორები ჩასმის.
And here you're starting to see the foundations.
აი აქ ფუნდამენტი შეიძლება დავინახოთ ცოტა.
So these buildings are raised a little bit off the ground.
ანუ
Stone foundation.
აწეულია ზედაპირიდან, მიწისძვრიდან.
დასავლეთ საქართველოს ფენთანახებს.
Yeah, the same in Western Georgia because it's kind of more high humidity area. They use this.
Yeah.
Is very good.
Next. And this is what the wood shakes looks like.
I have a good
Yeah, and in Poland, don't forget, in Poland, it's really interesting, different countries that have this wooden heritage, they treat their wood in a different way. In Sweden, they like to put linseed oil on everything.
All kinds of.
Yes, and I know, yeah, and I think this, so, I was told that on some of these churches in Poland, they were actually putting motor oil on these shingles on the outside. Motor oil. Oh, motor oil. Well,
ტრადიციულად იყენებდნენ სეისზე და კიდე რაღაც იყო ქართულად. ფიქსი.
I had this project in Myanmar, in Burma. We're working on a teak monastery, and they would take earth oil and they would put it under.
Earth oil.
Earth oil, tar,
Tar.
natural tar. Yeah, really awful. It's a really awful mess.
It's an oil product. It's tar.
It's a natural oil. There are some places, there are these places, they have these pits. And they fill with this black oil.
Now it's oil product.
Yeah, it's an natural oil product. It's not processed. They just take it from the ground. Yes. Okay, next. And with these types of structures, they're very fragile because they're made out of wood. You can see that they've done really nice things for water management. And this is a guttering system. With this type of building, you have to really manage the water. It's the same with rammed earth structure.
One more question. So the construction material is treated before they start construction with certain oils, or it happens after.
No, they put it in place and then they treat it. And they make it. What about creosote? Is creosote, is that pine tar? Creosote.
No, preserve is different. I think preserve, preserve my made furniture. Poses, in this was in the and.
We saw a couple of photographs of these buildings that had a fairly good stone foundation. But this is typical. This is just this one stone piece. These are just infill to keep the animals. Yeah. Next.
Quick question regarding the foundation.
Yeah.
Just to go. So there is only one stone, like per let's say a certain area, one stone, or it must be.
Well, if you're working on a building like this and you have the funding, we would normally like to have somebody dig a hole so we can go down and see exactly what happens with the foundation. We weren't able to do that here. My guess is that these foundations are not very deep.
And should, because to probably move with the.
Yeah.
But it's not a continuous foundation, I understood.
Well, some of them have continuous foundations, but most of them do not. They sit on these pillars of stone. And you're right, there would be this differential settlement. But this kind of building, it will take the movement. Because the wood is extremely deformable and it can just take. It was one of the things that we saw is that there was a lot of this type of thing, but it doesn't really hurt the building. This one, that's a stone there, but there's. The foundations are not very good. So we were doing a lot of probing with the moisture meter, trying to understand. Yeah, and one of the really interesting things that we found about these buildings, I said they all leaned north. They're all oriented the same way. They all lean north. And the humidity and the moisture content in the wood on the north side was higher than everywhere else.
Okay,
does anybody want to guess why it was higher on the north side? Because of the sun. Yeah, the sun never hits the north side. The north side stays wetter. And so what happens to the wood?
That's why the model is
undergoes this change in the temperature and moisture level.
Well, that could have a lot to do with it as well, but we were finding, what we found is that there was a lot of wood rot on the north side at the base. And so the wood is trying to crush.
ხშირად
Like
გაგება
that.
ჩრდილოეთ ფარაზე შენობის.
Yeah, let's go to the next. So these were the types of interventions that we were seeing.
აი რაც ჩარევები, რაც მომდევნო მოსწრება პერიოდის ჩარევები ნაგებობს.
It's really easy to replace things with concrete.
ბეტონი რომელიც იყო.
Looks like they actually embedded the wood in concrete. They didn't remove the wood. So the indications of old rot.
Yes.
Okay, and the next. I think this is the same kind of problems that you see in the basements here. This is what we call woodworm, or it's actually a beetle out of those beetles. And then the next image, these are probably little holes where they come out. They all come out at once, and then they come out, they grow wings, they fly around, and they make love, and then they go back, and they lay their eggs. Next. And this is how they live. They live in the woods. They just slowly eat their way. This is what's living in our basement. Yeah. Okay, next. And then, of course, this is what happens when wood has a high moisture content. It starts to grow these mushrooms. And this was what was happening on the north side. And the next image is this is the kind of thing. Yeah. So that's the first case study. Let's go to the second one. I pulled these case studies together last night, and then I realized that they were both Orthodox churches. So I don't know what that means, but there you go. In Chicago, we have this famous architect in Chicago, at least in Chicago, he's famous. His name was Louis Sullivan, and he was one of the inventors of the architectural skyscraper style. Unfortunately, if you come to the United States and you want to see a Louis Sullivan building, almost all of his buildings in Chicago have been torn down, and you have to go to other cities to see his buildings. But later in his career, he was doing a lot of churches, a lot of different people. Okay, so this first image, this is the Holy Trinity Russian Orthodox. He designed in Chicago. And it's really interesting. There's a plaque by the door, and in English it says Holy Trinity Russian Orthodox Church. In Cyrillic, it says it's a Greek Catholic Church. This is in a neighborhood of Chicago.
Greek Catholic.
Greek Catholic.
Of course,
And you know, You know what Greek Catholic is?
Yes, I know.
Okay, you
In
know,
Ukraine, they have this.
yes.
Operation.
This is in a neighborhood of Chicago that's called Ukrainian Village.
აი უკრაინელები არიან ძირითადად და იქაც სოფელია უკრაინელებით დასახლებული ჩიკაგოს მახლობლად და ყოველთვის.
And I had a Ukrainian intern live at my house for one summer about 20 years ago.
ერთი 20 წლის წინ მყავდა ინტერნეტი უკრაინელი ზარბაშორი ჩემს აქვს.
And he was missing home, and I told him to go visit the Ukrainian village.
ენატრებოდაო ძალიან სახლიო და ხარიო აგერ უკრაინული სოფელია და ძალიან.
And he came back and he said, those people aren't Ukrainian, they're all Carpathian. But he got a bottle of this. What's the name of that drink that the Ukrainians and the Russians like to drink?
Vodka?
No. It's a drink that they make out of grill. Kvass. He was able to get some kvass. He came back to my house with a bottle of kvass. He was very happy. But he said, these people are Carpathian. Okay, well, anyway, next. This church was actually based on a photograph of a church that was published in this book. It's called Guide to the Great Siberian Railway.
No, I said, let's see, რომლის სურათი, ოდესღაცო ესე იგი დაბეჭდილიც კი იყო პეტერბურგის რაღაცა ხობა ეს იყო მეგზური რაღაცა გამოცემა იცინგის კინგზის მაგისტრალზეა ხობა აგებული და ტრასას გამოცემა.
So there was this man who was very rich with the railroads. His name was Charles Crane, and he was a Russophile, which means he loved everything Russian. And so he wanted to. And he showed Louis Sullivan this picture. I have no idea whether the church is still there. It's in Tuckerskaya.
It's a village or a station that has got.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wooden.
Yes, it's a log church.
Well, it's more of a passion.
I think that the Russian Railroad, as they were going east, they would put these buildings up very fast.
Yeah.
It's kind of like pretty fast. So Louis Sullivan based, why don't you go to the next one? Louis Sullivan based his design on that church, only it's not a log church, it's made out of brick.
I
So this was his rendering, and this is an early photograph of the church. They were doing some interesting things with colors. Okay, I'm sorry.
It was the design photo or what is it?
This is the photo. This is a rendering before it was built. This is an early. Yeah. And next. And a postcard giving an idea of what the colors were like. So all of this was brick with stucco, and this is wood.
Sorry, brick and stucco.
Brick and stucco. This part here is wood and stucco. So we found out from research that the stucco was replaced in 1950.
Almost that young slave, but that's almost that so super Spakashi shade was very swallow. It was concrete.
No, the original stucco was
Removed and replaced by new one.
yeah, but the new stucco, they didn't remove the old stucco. What they did was they put wood.
So you
They
can
connected.
I say almost that was
Separation.
because I don't see it really, but I think we would end up as some more skills that they were there, but
And they had, before I was involved, they did make some openings and they were able to uncover the original stucco and figure out the colors.
მე მაშინ არ ვიყავი ჩართული პროექტში და მათ მოახერხეს რომ გაიხსნათ ზოგიერთი ის სიღრმეში ენახა რაღაცები იყო გამოყენებული რომ პინჩენკო დაეყარა კონსტრუქციის.
But what I was trying to figure out was, number one, why did they put the stucco, the new stucco on? And number two, there was movement inside of the church that they were concerned about.
Okay, პირველი მაინტერესებდა რატო გაჭირდა რატო მოინდომეს ახალი შევესვა გადაელესა და მეორე კიდე საერთოდ შენობა მოძრაობაში იყო რაც ნახავთ იყო რაც მოკლიც იყო გასათვალისწინებელი.
And this gives you an idea of what it looks like. I mean,
აი
it's
როგორ
very lovely.
მოება შიგნიდან.
And next. Go back, stay right.
აი როჩე
There were some interesting movements that we were detecting going this way.
Triana mīdījoda pašvērtā es monākoti rozraubaši šenobā.
This next photograph is about here, so go to the next one.
Ai surati guaka.
You can see that in this window, there's everything.
Spaktiurati te dașorăgulia es naționale cearcăși panelăși.
And the next one, these are the, I hate showing these kind of photographs. I hate to show the cracks, but I was making a presentation in Canada and there was an architectural critic there. And he called these types of photographs, he called it architectural pornography.
Pornografia, ușura efect face seminarze, am să criticos arhitecturului.
So unfortunately, sometimes I have to show the dirty pictures. Okay, next. And the other thing up near the top, there was this horizontal crack.
I have chance for the sorry, got this piano.
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, and besides that, very few people knew exactly how this building was put together. The original plans don't exist anymore. So I was only able to access portions of the attic above the roof. And I was starting to see these really large cracks. But it wasn't telling me everything that I needed to know. Now let's go to the next one. Just another photograph. I mean, look at how large this crack. That's probably 5-6 centimeters. That's pretty significant. Next. It was pretty clear that they put the new stucco on because it had these huge cracks in the building. I was able to only, this is just a schematic, I was only able to get into this part of the attic. And this is what I can see. I can see masonry walls. And I can see a steel structure here. But I couldn't see anywhere else. Next. So I told them that I needed to, I was able to get into the attic, into these parts of the attic.
აი ამ ტერიტორიებში შიგნით შენობაში შეცვლა
I
მოხდა.
told them that I needed to get here as well.
აი აქ ჭირდებოდა კუთხეებში შეცვლა უთხარი მათ.
And so we decided to install some access hatches in the ceilings.
აქ ამიტომ გადაწყვეტილება იყო მიღებული, რომ შესაძლებელი რაღაცა ურავი რომ მინახა გაეკეთებინა რაღაცა ღიობია და
There was no decorative paint back here, so we were able to put a hatch in the ceiling and paint it. And it became a permanent installation. These are permanent hatches, so you can go to a ladder, you can open it up. Anybody can go up there now.
აი ახლა უკვე ყველა შეუძლია ასვლა, ეს არის დროებითი, ასე ვთქვათ, დროებითი ვიზიტები გაკეთებული, აი მუდმივად იქნებ ის შეუძლია შემიძლია საფურავი ნახოს.
And so after the next one is I think a photograph. They're starting to put these access hatches in.
აი ეს გადაი ამ პერიოდის სურათებია, როცა აწყობდნენ იქ.
And then I was able to go up into these spaces. And again, we're starting to see these cracks. Next. Same kind of cracks, very, very large cracks. 2 to 3 centimeters. And next is other examples of the cracks everywhere. And remember that horizontal crack that I showed? There was a piece of steel. And the crack on the inside lined up with where the steel was. So we have some differential movement between the steel, the wood, and the masonry.
The vertical ones are wood, right?
This is wood. This is all wood. That's steel. The steel bears on this masonry.
And then we put some colorful motor.
This. You can go to the next one. This is where the steel is bearing on the brick.
ჩამაგრებული ისე დამჭერები ბეტონის ნაწილები, რომელიც იკავებს დედოს, აი ჩანს აქ აგურში.
So let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is what I found out how the whole building was constructed.
აი როგორი შემდებოდა რა ამოვაჩინე, რაც მოინტერესებდა მე.
Yellow is all the brick.
აი ეს კვიტელი მონიშნული არის სულ აგური.
And they had these interior brick piers.
შიგნით იყო ეს სვეტები ასევე აგურის.
Then they wrapped the inside with a belt of steel.
და ემო საზღვრული დაჭერილი იყო ლითონის ასე ვთქვათ მიზებით, ლითონის ნაწილებით იყო შეკრული.
And the steel was there to support the dome above.
და ასევე ლითონი გამოიყენეს რომ გუმბათი დაეკავებინათ და დაეცვა.
So it wasn't successful.
No, it wasn't successful. I saw this as a belt. The belt is very rigid. And the masonry wanted to move. So you can think of it as an overweight man with a belt, like me. And so I've got my belts on and I just keep getting fatter. And then things start to break.
Yeah.
And so this was breaking away from here, and they were causing cracks.
აი ეს ყველაფერი მერე იწევდა ეს ერთინაამდეგობაში მოსვლა ნაპრალებს, ნასხომებს და ფსარებს და რა ვიცი.
So they had these huge cracks on the outside of the building, which went through the stucco.
და გარეთ და დიდი ბზარები იყო, რომ აი შეფარკაშებული და ფარკაშები წიწვიოდა.
This happened a long time ago, and so they covered it with the new stucco.
აი ეს მერი ხანი იწევდებოდა, დიდი ხნის განმავლობაში იწევდებოდა, რომ მე გადაწყვიტეს ხელახლა დაეფარა ფარკაში.
Now, maybe in 1950, they understood what was happening, but they never described it to anybody else.
ალბათ 50-იან წლებში გიმიხდნენ და სამყაროდაც საქმე რა პრობლემა იყო შექმნილი, მაგრამ თომისთვის ეს არ უცნობებია და არა უცხოს არავის.
So they left it as a puzzle for us to solve.
და თავის აცე როგორც ისე ფაზმიო, ყველა თავისებურად როგორც ეცდება ახსნას.
Yeah, and then the next image, that just shows how the steel sits on here.
აი როგორც ეს
Okay, good.
ლითონის ნაწილი საფრთხელი როგორც ხდება ობაში.
So this is what the church looks like today. I see the stucco is not in a very good condition.
აი და თვითონაც ბარკაში არ არის გამოგარებაში.
So their first question to me was it enough for them to just do a repair on the stucco? And I told them that they needed to reestablish this belt. And there were amazing.
Quadrați medani, sunt sagiro იყო თუ არა შეეცვალა ეს ბარკაში მოსვლა და ხელახალები ბარკაში დაიმუშავებინა. მე ვხარე რომ ჯერ საფრთხელი
იყო თუ არა საკმარისი პოზნალები გამო.
იყო საჭირო.
Yeah, so we were actually talking about putting some kind of belt on the outside of this.
ანუ გარედანაც შეიძლება შეკრა, როგორც ჩანს
It's something that would be completely hidden and nobody would see.
შეიძლება დაფარული იყოს და არ გამოჩნდება ვერავინ.
Okay.
Did you install this kind of outside frame?
They haven't done it yet.
არ
Very
გავუკეთებია
slow.
შე,
You know, churches in the United States are all very poor and they move, and things move very slowly. Also, this neighborhood is changing demographically. It's not necessarily a Slavic neighborhood anymore.
Adresui იყო პროსლავური დასახლება აქა და თემი იყო ფუძილად დაინტერესებული, ახლა იცვლება დემოგრაფია და სულ აღარ არის სლავური ასე.
It's becoming a Mexican neighborhood.
უფრო მექსიკური გახდა თემი, ასე ვთქვათ, მოსახლეობა თვითონ.
But people of Russian and Ukrainian origin in the United States are like second and third generation.
უკვე მეორე და მესამე თაობა რუსი მიგრანტები სუპერამერიკაში ასე ვთქვათ.
And many people who are members of these types of churches in the United States aren't necessarily ethnically Russian or Ukrainian.
და განსაკუთრებით ემიგრაციის ასე ვთქვათ სამომავლები სულაც არ არიან მართლაც ასე ვთქვათ სლავები ან უკრაინელები ან რუსები შეიძლება სხვა ეროვნების სახელმწიფოს.
But projects with churches in the United States, they usually move very slowly.
ანუ თვითონ პროექტები რომლებიც ეკლესიებს ეხება ამერიკაში საკმაოდ ნელა იკარება. საქმისკენ ნელა მიდის.
So I think we can break for lunch.
We should be measuring some notes. Somebody is going to
No,
Okay.
Okay, all right, great.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.